Hey, it's good to have you, and thanks for coming in, by the way. We do appreciate that. Haven't talked to you for a little while. So as we kind of turn the calendar page, we're through half of 2021 already. I think a lot of people are pretty glad that 2020 obviously is over. But are we transcending back into what was a more normal existence before that, or are we still having some different issues?
No pandemic-related issues at the office. I think we are, like everyone, we're truthfully enjoying the fact that we're seeing people again a lot more, and there's events going on. You know, I think that one of the things that's overlooked, not to get all psychological, is people nurture other people. We're meant to be around other people, and it's not terribly healthy when we're not. And so I can tell you that our call volume is way up, but that's pretty normal for summer. You know, we get a lot of calls in the summertime. We run over 18,000 calls a year now at our little office, and it's busy all the time. But it's been good. You know, our guys are doing a good job. The only thing we've noticed lately as far as crime is a pretty good uptick in, break-ins to cars. You know, we've had that in a couple different areas. People are just always, they'll hit a neighborhood, and obviously somebody's on foot, and they'll just go car to car to car. And I'm always surprised at the things people leave in their cars. You know, we've had a couple of guns stolen. You know, it's not proper at all. It's not legal, whether you ever permit or not, to leave a gun unsecured like that in a vehicle. Stuff like that. So lock your cars up. You know, that's the one thing. People, though, they don't typically. It does happen once in a while in a very remote location, but most of the time they don't break the window. That causes too much noise and too much attention. So they move right on to the next car.
I don't want anybody stealing my breath mints out of my car.
Well, those you have famously good breath, so those who may want to copy that would be tempted. I mean,
I'll just give them a tip.
That's exactly right.
One thing I did read and just a day or two ago was about the number of scams, telephone related, that during the pandemic year last year was 3 times what it had normally been. Are we seeing an uptick in that here?
Well, yeah, and of course the biggest fraud that took place in that last year was the unemployment fraud. That was gigantic. Virtually everybody I know, I think Governor DeWine was a victim. I was a victim, so it was just one of those things that was done in such huge numbers because of the way things are done in a pandemic. There's always a negative side to going remote and using computers for everything, and that was it. I would say for the other types of scams, that it's just stays steady. I mean, we had an individual the other day who lost $8,000, and it was an older person, and the person was a very law-abiding person, but an individual who claimed to be an agent with the Drug Enforcement Administration had convinced them that they had a warrant for them out of the Texas area, and that they, had to pay that immediately if they didn't want taken into custody. And the way we got tipped off to that was this individual had gone to a few different locations, and one of them was a grocery store. The grocery store person saw this individual trying to purchase $2,000 in gift cards, and they called us. That led us to going down and talking with her. But the sad part is, when our deputy pulled in, she came out very distraught, and her first words were, "Are you here to take me into custody?" And, people laugh at it. I almost hesitate to post that kind of stuff on Facebook anymore, because there's always people that feel like they have to chime in to call them idiots or morons. And I think the people that fall for those types of scams feel bad enough, and some of them have different reasons they fall for it. But the truth is that, no matter how many times we publicize it in social media or in traditional media, there's always people that fall for it. These guys are good. Now, this individual is operating out of India. We track those gift card, the cashings to India. And, we just got to remind people, like, it's okay to call us. Call us and give us your story. Let us have a deputy talk to you and see if there's any validity to it at all.
You can check and see if there are any warrants.
Yeah, we would check and see if there were warrants. And we also, would do a good job of convincing them that they were being scammed. Of course, no government agency ever is going to ask you to pay something with gift cards, and they demand those numbers over the seat. But it's tricky anymore, Brad. Anything that you do on the phone can be manipulated. I can call you, and I can make my phone come up, that it's Joe Biden calling you. I mean, the number, I can make whatever number I want to appear, whatever name I want to appear. Those are just done with apps that are easily downloadable. So now people can't trust their caller ID anymore.
Right.
You just have to really sift through things, and you have to understand that even if you did have a warrant or something like that, you have the right to take the time to validate it. So while we never do gift cards, I know another individual who did not fall for it. They got a letter from the Drug Enforcement Administration. It was on letterhead and everything. And that wasn't very good letterhead, but, same sort of thing, convincing him of his activity near the southwest border of the country, and that, he was going to be, arrested on this unless he, that's not how we work. If we're going to arrest you, we're going to arrest you. We're not, we don't have that ability to allow you to just pay to avoid it. So, it's sad because my own mother, when she was alive, she never fell for a financial scam, but she had cancer near the end of her life, at the end of her life, and I could never get her to answer the phone, and I'd have to drive over. And when I get over there, I say, Mom, I'm calling. I'm worried. Why won't you answer? She goes, all those telemarketers. She couldn't say no. She couldn't just hang up like I do. And so some of those people are just raised too nice to do that.
Right.
And so we don't make fun of them. We try to help them out. But, if I have one point to make out of this is hang up, call your local law enforcement, give them the number and the story, and let us convince you it's either good or bad or whatever. We'll be happy to do it.
Right. Hey, we're talking communications. I know we talked about you were getting some new equipment in the recent past. Has that all been installed, and how's that going?
Right. Everything has been installed. With technology, it's a constant upgrade.
Yeah.
You buy a computer, and five years later, you're replacing it. So one of the big replacement projects we're starting now is the service, which is done through Frontier Communications, and that is the phones and the for dialing 911. So most people don't understand the phone lines that when you dial 911, they're actually different. It's a different system than the rest of the building. It helps us pinpoint a location to you. That's one of the things we try to tell people for safety is even if you can't talk to us, if you're in danger, dial 911. Doesn't matter if it's a cell phone or a home phone. It'll give us a location and we can come find you. So if you thought somebody was in your home and you were too scared to talk, you could hide and dial 911, leave that line open. We'll be able to listen live and we'll be able to send somebody to help you. That's a different kind of technology. So those will be getting replaced soon. It's not really an increased cost. We pay a large amount of money every year to maintain a system. This system has gone beyond its use. So we're going to be replacing it. But the 5-year cost is about the same. It's actually a little bit cheaper than what we would have paid over 5 years to maintain the old one anyway. So
good.
We have to pay a little bit more up front, but then that yearly maintenance drops way down. So it's just always trying to keep up with the good technology and keep up with things. There's so much that comes out.
Right.
So many programs. I mean, I bet I get a half a dozen emails a day of a software vendor trying to push something on us, and a ton of them have great ideas, but there's only so much money you can spend, and you just have to prioritize what you really need.
Make sure you're not getting scammed.
Yeah, make sure I'm not getting scammed. Yeah, I make those folks meet me in person.
What about reverse 911? What is that? Obviously, I would assume that's when there's an emergency that you need to let people know about, but is that also an improvement with this other part?
Yeah, so we use... we call it reverse 911. We use a product called Motorola Vesta for our services in that. And it is something that we use quite a bit. To give you an example, just recently, it was used at the Dover chemical fire to notify neighbors. We had a young girl very young girl who ran away on a cold night with no shoes on, just outside Newcomerstown, and we notified all the neighbors, and all the neighbors helped come out and look. And we were searching everything from trash cans and everything. And that little girl lived right along the river, and we were terrified. Searched all night long, but we found her. She was fine. Things like that. It's actually the same technology that helped us solve that the Mineral City Warrior case up in Mineral City a few years ago where the little boy was abducted. The individual that did that was hiding, and we did a reverse 911 call to notify the neighbors of his description that we had. It was very brief, and the neighbors came out and they stood on their porch and they watched and they waited. And he tried to dart across State Route 800. We immediately got a 911 call. We had him within a minute. So it's great technology. And what that allows us to do is pick any area, draw a shape, draw a direction, and notify the people in that. That technology keeps advancing as well. So even if you're, what's coming is even if you're traveling and your cell phone hits a certain tower, soon we'll be able to hit even the people who maybe from Cleveland who's just driving through 77 will get that notification.
Okay.
Stuff like that. So, it's good stuff. We're building a new website for the county and the sheriff's office right now. And one of the things we want to really push as we get that stuff out there is getting people to register for that, register phones for that service and things like that. So definitely great technology. It helps us a lot.
That sounds like a lot going on. Is there anything else we should know before you go back to the non-rain, I guess?
Yeah, folks, just, we here in Tuscarawas County enjoy more support from our community than I think most. And I know I feel this way every day, but I rarely say it publicly. So I just want to thank everybody because we have people, we actually have had, during the 2020 pandemic, we had deputies that told me that they couldn't go into a restaurant to even take takeout because people wouldn't let them buy their food. They would buy their food for them. And our guys would only go through a drive-through simply just because, they felt bad taking free lunches and things like that from people. And but we do tremendously appreciate what folks did for us and still continue to support us. So,
well, we thank you and your entire staff and crew. So if you'll pass that along, we'd appreciate that.
We'll do it. Thanks, Brad.
That's Orvis Campbell, Tuscarawas County Sheriff, with us this morning on the 8:30 High Beam, and it's only on the B Team Morning Show.